So I've talked a bit before about the path of least resistance and how, as humans, we're most inclined to follow this path where we are very in tune to getting the most bang for our buck, right? We want to get the most amount of results for the least amount of effort put in. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, because as humans, why wouldn't we want to be the most efficient that we can be? But there's a certain point and a certain use of the path of least resistance to where it plays against our own desires and what we should truly want out of life. It actively works against us in some senses. So, and that's why a lot of the times when you hear about the path of least resistance, it's used kind of in a negative connotation. So I wanted to relate it to finances and wealth. So if you think about it, maybe this is not going to be any novel concept here, but I just had the idea that the path to poverty is the path of least resistance. So I guess we could talk about social media. So, doing something hard and getting like this amount of dopamine from it is much less appealing than doing something easy and getting this much dopamine from it. And that's why I talked about bang for a buck and trying to be efficient as humans. But with things like social media, and sorry for always bashing on social media, obviously there are good uses to it if you use it correctly. It's not all entirely bad, but in the way that a lot of the modern generation uses it today, I think it is doing a little bit more harm than it is good. But here we are on a social media platform, and I'm talking to you through this medium. So hopefully, and I view this as a good use of social media, so that's kind of why I'm here. But anyways, aside from getting off topic, it's harder to get up out of bed and work on yourself. It's harder to go to the gym. It's harder to go to the gym and get like a little bit of dopamine after you're through your whole workout, because in the moment it's not very, if it's like your first time going to the gym and working out, it's not very exciting. You don't feel a lot of pleasure and dopamine while you're struggling under the heavy weights. So mostly for something like working out or going for a run or anything like that, exercising, you feel good after you've completed the exercise or the task, where rather than something like social media, it's a lot easier and you get a lot more dopamine doing that, sitting in your bed or sitting at your desk chair and just scrolling like this up through the apps, as your brain just is always seeking something new and something novel. And that's like why a lot of people have that the ghost buzz effect, or it's called something like that, where your phone will be in your pocket, or maybe your phone won't even be in your pocket and you feel a vibration in your pocket, or if you have an Apple Watch, I don't have an Apple Watch, but if you feel a vibration on your wrist and then you check and there's no notifications there, that's just your brain always craving the novelty and seeking something new from your phone, which is where all these notifications come from and whatever. But what I'm trying to say is that if you do absolutely nothing, which would be the path of least resistance, right? Because getting up and doing something inherently is more effort and it's harder than just laying there like a dead fish or like a log in your bed. So getting up and doing something is harder than just laying there and doing nothing, right? So in this kind of format of thinking, for me, I was just thinking that like if you literally sit there and do nothing for the rest of your life, you will be poor, because in order to get money, you have to do some sort of act. You have to do something in order to get a monetary exchange. But the path of least resistance would be to just sit there and do nothing. So, I guess if you're getting up and going to a job, you're essentially fighting against the path of least resistance. So good on you for that. But I don't know what I wanted to get out of this video, but I just wanted to kind of assimilate the idea of the path of least resistance is aligned with the path to poverty, because doing nothing, sorry to keep hammering on the same point, but doing nothing and laying there in your bed scrolling through social media it doesn't generate any income. I don't know how I'm trying the proper way to phrase this or articulate this, but literally just sitting there and laying on your bed will not generate you any money. Sorry, there's a helicopter flying by. But doing that will give you nothing, whereas actually getting up and out of bed has, I'm not saying that any 9-to-5 can grant you generational wealth, but that is essentially away from straying from the path of poverty. And again, I'm not saying that you can't be in poverty while working a job, but I guess I'm just trying to make this video to say that literally doing nothing, sitting on your phone, sitting on social media is not bringing you any closer to your goals. And it is it is on the path of least resistance and will eventually lead you to poverty if you do not do anything to combat that. So that's going to be the video for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, and remember to stay on target.